It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Howdy, partner. It's so good to see you. How are you doing? Come on in. It's cold outside, isn't it? Sit down. Let's warm up by the fire and just have a good conversation, shall we? Of course, I'm excited. It's New Year's. Or close enough, right? This is the first time we've seen each other since then. Did you make a New Year's resolution? Was it something totally awesome but also probably unattainable? My New Year's, partner, it was a little bit bittersweet, if you know what I mean. I planned on going downtown to a dance called Resolution, my wife and I. Here, check it out. Celebrate good times, come on, skadooba-da-doo, dooba-da, woo, woo. But she wasn't feeling well, so I lost my dance partner and I just didn't have the motivation to get out of the house. So she went to bed early and I just came in here and I did some self-reflection, dangerous activity, because I feel like maybe I came upon a important but also deeply unsettling conclusion. And that is this. If you look back at all of my past resolutions, well, I never achieved any of them. Why do they all fail? Do you have this problem, partner? Should I be worried? I feel like I'm in the woods, and there's all these paths radiating out in all directions. And I keep taking different paths, and I keep ending up back in that forest. If only there was like a trail of breadcrumbs that I could follow, or maybe someone with a lantern, someone like you, partner, can you help me get out? I'm scared, because after all, Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. What is wrong with me, partner? Am I insane? Don't answer that. In fact, before we get too lost in thought, we should celebrate. It is the New Year's after all, partner, and it's afternoon somewhere. Cheers to new beginnings. Oh God. Humor me here. Assume that I am not insane for a minute. I know, that's a big assumption. Maybe I am doing something over and over again. I'm just not aware of it. Maybe there's something that I'm baking into this recipe that just dooms me to failure again and again. It's always good to play devil's advocate. Maybe the point of making resolutions is not to actually meet them. Maybe it's just some exotic social ritual that we all participate in. You know, like the birds of the Amazon rainforest. We do a little dance, we build a little nest, we get down tonight. But that's not how I feel. I actually want to achieve those goals. When I told myself I was going to write a novel, I really wanted to do that. When I told myself I wanted to read more, I really wanted to. I just couldn't seem to maintain the habits necessary to, perpetuate those. So why was I thinking about all these things to begin with? Well, it's New Year's. New Year's is probably a special time. Do you feel empowered? Right? Do you feel an extra boost of motivation to go out and seek out those life goals? I do. Maybe it's a placebo effect. Maybe we're just raising our expectations of success so we're more likely to go out and reach our goals. Yeah, I feel like the phoenix rising up from the ashes and spreading his wings, and I can just soar off into the distance towards all of my future goals. And we see this kind of play out in the data, right? If we look at gym memberships, we see a huge boost in January. And it stays strong for a couple of weeks or so, and then it kind of just falls back down to baseline. Maybe we all just run out of steam. Maybe that extra boost in motivation was enough fuel to kind of bump us along the path, but not enough to get us all the way there. Because let's just list some of our resolutions, right? What are some popular ones? Write a novel, learn to play piano, start a new business, get healthy. That's like 13% of us right there. And what do all of these resolutions have in common? Well, they're really big. They're really distant. There's a million different paths you could take to reach that goal. Maybe our resolutions are just kind of pie in the sky. Wouldn't it be great if we could go up there and just cut up that pie into a million slices and create kind of like a trail bait path to success? Like this?
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
But that's not reality. Help me out here, partner. I don't want to squander my resolution power on pie in the sky. What do I do? Well, Roy, what you should be doing is you should be thinking about this completely differently. Treat it like a business proposal to yourself. Begin 2 weeks before January 1st, diligently typing up into a PowerPoint with copyright protected art, pie charts and line graphs, and all of the other metrics that you need to gauge the likely success of your plan. And then you can review it. I like this here. Nah, that seems like too much work. Isn't there just some, like, general thing that I could resolve to do that would help me out no matter what my resolution? Well, let's think about that, right? Maybe there is. Break it down with a quote. Partner, you've heard this. Will Durant said, "We are what we repeatedly do, and therefore excellence is not an act, it's a habit." Any goal that we set for ourselves is going to require us to create good habits. If you want to write a novel, you're going to have to write regularly, every day even. If you want to get healthy, you're going to have to stick to your diet and stick to your gym schedule all the time. It has to be a habit. So how do we build good habits, maybe, is the question we should answer. And I think, well, at least one of the keys to unlocking this mystery is got to be an environment. Like, think about this environment here. This is a great environment for having a conversation, right? There's no TV, no distractions. It's a nice, warm, inviting place. We're sitting opposite one another and we can just gaze longingly into one another's eyes until we cry tears of joy. Here's another example. Why is the gym a better environment for exercising than my living room? Well, there's no couch at the gym. There's no Xbox. There's no Call of Duty. What else am I going to do at the gym? Maybe I could do some figure drawing, right? I mean, after all, there's a lot of nice anatomy on display here. But no, I can't do that. There's also social pressure, right? There are cultural norms that you have to respect, even at the gym. So in my experience, really the biggest challenge wasn't what am I going to do when I'm at the gym? It was really, well, how do I motivate myself to actually get to the gym, to get to that good environment where the habit just feels natural? The plot thickens here, partner. How do I get to a good environment? Well, let me tell you the story about Roy trying to wake up in the morning for gym. Alarm goes off an hour earlier than I'm used to. I hit the button, and then I close my eyes, and I say to myself, don't worry, I'm not going back to sleep. I'm just going to lay here and rest my eyes for a bit. And then what happens? I just fall back to sleep. The next morning, the alarm goes off, and this time I try to become the cheerleader inside of my mind. You can do it, Roy. I believe in you. All you have to do is pull off those covers and do it one leg at a time. That doesn't work. Next day, I start getting frustrated. I start commanding myself, just get up. What is wrong with you? Are you pathetic? How hard can it be? Get your stupid butt out of bed, you lazy sack of potatoes. And that doesn't work either. So this makes me believe that, whatever my willpower is, it's definitely unreliable in these situations. But there's another problem here, because shouldn't being healthy be incentive enough for us to get out of bed? Like, what if we think about incentives as having some sort of gravitational force that attracts us to them? And the bigger the incentives, right, the bigger the force. So you would think, wow, being healthy, man, that offers a lot of benefits. Let's just think of them. You look better in a Speedo. You don't get sick as often. You feel better and more optimistic because of all the endorphins. You even, as it turns out, get a cognitive boost. And you add years onto your lifespan. That should be just pulling us out. But maybe it's like a distant planet where it's enough to keep us in a stable orbit around it, but it's not enough by itself to pull us in. So there must be something else out there, some other type of incentive that we could leverage to kind of lift us out of bed. How did I eventually get to the gym? If I'm being honest, I don't think it had anything to do with my own willpower. I think it had everything to do with the fact that I had a friend at work who also wanted to go to the gym. We would see each other every day after work, and we'd kind of, like psych each other up. You're gonna be at the gym tomorrow? You bet your sweet buttery bun cakes I'll be at the gym tomorrow. We're gonna do it together. We're gonna pump some iron, and we're gonna feel great. And the next morning when the alarm clock goes off, I'm thinking about if I don't get up, I'm going to have to make up some excuse to tell my friend. And I'm going to look foolish. And so to avoid that shame, I get up and I go to the gym. Have you ever had that experience? So I think these social incentives can provide the necessary leverage to really get us over that initial hump. Okay, let me give you a metaphor. What if we think about the relationship between environment, incentives, and habits? Like Pac-Man. So the game board represents the environment, and there are physical barriers that channel you along these different paths. And built into that are also all of these incentives, these little white dots that give you points along the way. And what if we think about a habit as this situation? The incentives never go away. We are really smart and we traverse our local environments until we find sort of the path of least resistance, right? The very best option for us. And then we do that over and over again and it becomes a habit. It becomes muscle memory. It's hard to break that habit. That's why we need the ghosts. We need to befriend one of those ghosts, call them up, and tell them, hey, can you get over here? I'm stuck in a loop. Obviously, that's super simplistic, but maybe it gives us an interesting way to think about this. Okay, can we just pause and do a quick recap? I'm starting to get confused. I'm losing the chain of reasoning here. We said excellence is what we all strive for, and excellence is a habit. And to build good habits, we need to get ourselves into good environments. Getting to those environments is a big obstacle itself because we have to unlearn old habits to make room for the new ones. And maybe willpower is not helping us as much as we think, and neither is that distant goal. And so we need some other incentive. And maybe it's people, right? Isn't the problem and the solution always people? What do you think about that? Does that make any sense to you? Okay, so let's go back to New Year's Eve now. I'm thinking about all these things, and I get a text from my sister, and it says, Happy New Year. What's the first thing I felt? Well, I felt guilt. And that's because a month earlier, my sister had called me up and said, hey, we're both starting businesses. Do you want to be my accountability partner? And I had never heard that term before, but I knew exactly what she was talking about. And I said, yes, that's a great idea. You tell me your goals, I'll tell you mine. And because this is now public knowledge, wanting to avoid the shame of admitting that we didn't keep our promises to ourselves is an extra little bit of a push in the right direction. Fantastic idea, but it didn't work because we didn't build a habit. And so I texted back without thinking, Happy New Year, sister. I resolved to be a better accountability partner to you. And I kind of chuckled because it seemed kind of trivial for a second. But then I felt a light bulb go off. Maybe that is a better, more reasonable, more manageable, more tangible goal to use that extra boost that I've gotten from this time of year effectively. And by focusing on motivating somebody else, right? First of all, it's much easier to criticize somebody else than yourself. And it's more fun when they fail. By applying that social pressure via reciprocation, she's going to feel guilty if she doesn't return the favor. What happens if we all implement a mandatory society-wide buddy system for life goals? Okay, one more metaphor. I promise. Maybe one solution to this whole New Year's Eve well that we're stuck down is, well, we find a partner and we get back to back and we put our feet up on opposite sides of the wall and we slowly walk up towards the light together. So that's all I've got for you tonight, partner. But as always, I've really enjoyed every moment just sitting here, getting lost in thought with you. And, well, Happy New Year. I'm sure it'll be a good one. Come back and see me sometime soon.